I'm Callum Bohn.
And I'm Segerman.
And we're here to break down UVA Baseball ahead of a really highly anticipated season where the Hoos are the #2 ranked team in the nation going into the season. And we're here to give one strength and one weakness on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. And let's start with the offense. Will, what's your biggest strength for this team?
Yeah, so a big strength of UVA's offense this season is the returning players they have coming back from last year. So UVA is returning over 50% of their at-bats from last year's historic offensive season. And additionally, they're returning 77 of their 116 home runs, which is the most in the ACC by a good amount. What's another strength, Callum?
On the defensive side, I'm looking at this pitching staff, and I feel really good about it, especially the starting rotation. We have a good 1-2 punch at the top between Blanco and Wolfhook, the football player. The other guys competing for a spot in this starting rotation are Bryson Moore, Tomas Valencius, and the two-way player Arroyo. And I'm especially excited about Tomas Valencius. He's from Lithuania, so I'm hoping for a special type of energy, a special dog in him, and that mentality to pair well with a really good slider and some good action on his fastball coming out of that left-handed arm slot.
Yeah, for sure. Those Lithuanians are built different.
Yes, they are. Whoever doesn't make it into that starting rotation will bolster a crowded room of relievers. A few contributors from last year like Chase Hungate and Owen Cody are out the door, but 8 of the 11 new recruits this season are pitchers, so barring any injuries, of course, I'm feeling great about the depth of this pitching staff. Will, now let's go to some weaknesses. What's a liability on the offensive side of the ball for you?
Yeah, so one big hole I'm looking at in this lineup as opposed to last year is the departure of Griff O'Farrell. He was drafted 32nd overall by the Orioles in the MLB draft, and now there's a gaping hole at the shortstop position, and it's pretty unclear who's going to fill it. O'Farrell was a cornerstone of UVA baseball for the past 3 seasons, and we'll see where they go from here. I'm optimistic, but there definitely is a lot of uncertainty in that area of the field and with his bat. All right, Callum, what issues do you see in this team?
Yeah, I'm looking at this defense, and in particular, I just feel like there's some inexperience that we're going to be dealing with, especially early on in the season. Big issue at shortstop, losing, the all-star O'Farrell. But also in this outfield, I think we're really going to feel the loss of Sauke and Whalen, 2 seasoned players. And now we're going to have some players playing out of position. You have Henry Ford, who was at first base last season. He's been playing in right. In left, you have Didowick and the freshman James Nunnally. And in center, we have Aiden Teal. This is maybe not a bad group at all by any means, but it's a liability as far as being far more inexperienced than the trio that we saw out there last year. Now, they may not admit it, but many of our arms who pitch to contact are probably feeling a little less secure with these 7 guys behind them than the group from last year. It'll take time till, the middle of the season, I would say, for that assurance between the pitchers and the defense to really be there, and that chemistry and that confidence to be at the level that we saw last year, and especially going into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think at this point, UVA is just hoping that the defensive chemistry sort of, gets more cohesive by the time the ACC tournament and eventually,
in Omaha, yeah.
Hopefully in Omaha this season when that comes around. The season's been off to a bit of a shaky start so far. Right now, the Hoos are sitting at 3-3 after the Round Rock tournament in Texas, but that came after 2 close losses in extra innings and another loss to a powerhouse Oregon State team. So there's optimism that the Hoos can get their season back on track when they return to Charlottesville.
Yeah, even though they've dropped now to the 10 spot nationally as they started the season at the 2 spot, I'm not concerned about this team, especially now that they're back in Charlottesville and it's starting to warm up here. I'm hoping that these bats are going to start warming up as well. And we're really counting on baseball here. It's been a shaky year for UVA athletics all around, and all eyes are on this baseball team.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about looking at things in perspective. They're 10th in the nation right now, but there's still consensus that this UVA baseball team is great, and there's a lot of ball to be played this season. So there's a lot of optimism around this team and a lot to look forward to moving forward.
Big time. I'm Callum Bohn.
And I'm Segerman.
WUVA.